Okay, I think we're ready to go. Some more people signed up and will be joining us in the next couple of minutes, I expect. But we can get started. Thank you, first of all, for joining us for today's webinar, Introducing iiRDS, hosted by tekom Denmark. My name is Suzanne. I'm the project manager for iiRDS at the tekom office in Germany. And I'm very pleased to have you with us today. Before I hand over to Holger Tator from tekom Denmark and our iiRDS expert speaker today, Ulrike Parson, let me just mention a couple of housekeeping topics. First of all, today's webinar will be recorded. The recording will be made available next week on the iiRDS website at iirds.org. And we welcome you to revisit the content yourself then and share it with your colleagues. The presentation slides and the recordings will also be made available to tekom members at the webinar library by Thursday this week. And I will post a link for those who are not familiar with the webinar library at the tekom website. I'll also post a link later on in the chat, so you will find it in the next days there, the slides and the recording as well. As mentioned here on the slide as well, we welcome and invite your questions and comments. Please use the chat box to type in your questions. If you have a more elaborate question, just mention that you have a question and we will then get back to you at the end of each topic to answer the question, or if it's more of a wider topic, discussion topic, maybe towards the end of the session then. The speakers also prepared some polls and quizzes during the webinar. So those will be used and posted in the chat box there as well during the webinar. And we hope many of you will participate in those quizzes as well. So that's it from my side at this time. And I'm going to hand over the floor to Holger Tator, our host from tekom Denmark. Holger, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you, Susanne. So my name is Holger Tator. I'm Vice President of tekom Denmark, and we are very happy to see that this subject for today has sparked a lot of interest. So we got over 60 signups. So it seems that this topic is very relevant for you. So we're very happy that we can shed some light, or Ulrike can shed some light today into iiRDS. So I'm really excited to hear, and I don't want to spend a lot of time, so take it away from the presentation. So I'd like to introduce Ulrike to you. So, and Ulrike, could you say a couple of words about yourself? Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, actually, the first two slides are about the company. Let me just share my screen. Yes, thank you, Susanne. And let's start the presentation. Get rid of all those buttons here. Okay, thank you to tekom Denmark and TC World for hosting the webinar and inviting me. My name is Ulrike. The name of my company is Parson. We are from the north of Germany, as you can see in this picture, and from our main location is Hamburg. And we are both consultants and technical writers. As consultants and information architects, we help people to get rid of documents and to create smart content and to introduce information management systems like content management and content delivery. And we also do some development work like automatic build of documents or script-based migration. And as technical writers, we do write content mainly for IT and software products. But today's topic is about iiRDS, and this nice acronym stands for Intelligent Information Request and Delivery Standard. Susanne, just a short question. This green frame around my slides stops before the footer of the slide. Do you see the complete slide, including the footer?
we see the complete slide, including the footer with the date and tekom Denmark information. Yes.
Wonderful. Then it's just irritating that the frame doesn't cover that. Okay. Parson has been with the iiRDS initiative since the beginning. It started in 2016 as a working group of TC World, and we already were a member of this working group. And in the years after that, we participated in the consortium works. Me as a steering committee chair, I just handed over this position last month, and my colleague Mark as a convener for the working group development, meaning that he is coordinating the further development and maintenance of the standard. So before I actually want to go into the details regarding the scope of iiRDS and the metadata and how to use it, I would like to talk about some basic terms. What is intelligent information? What is an ontology? Stuff like that. And then we will go through the standard in general, the metadata, how to apply it, and which tools you need. The last section will be about the iiRDS consortium and related standards and initiatives. And if there are any more detailed questions, Susanna will also be able to answer those. So you see, we have about 6 sections, not too much time, as I also would like to do some 3 quizzes. But please, if you have any questions, just I would suggest that we collect them to the end of each section. So it's easier. I don't want to wait until the end of the webinar. That's just too out of context. But we can take questions at the end of each section. And I think Susanna will keep an eye on the chat for me and stop me if there's any question. Okay, so about intelligent information. iiRDS stands for Intelligent Information Request and Delivery Standard. So what is intelligent information and why do we need to standardize it? To illustrate this, let me clarify some basic terms. iiRDS, one of its main parts, is a metadata vocabulary. What do we mean when we talk about metadata? You all know metadata from your work, maybe in your component content management system or when you search stuff in Amazon or other portals. It's actually information or data that describes other information. It describes it, for instance, the information type, it explains it, it locates it. For example, this building belongs or is located in the US. And all this information about other information makes it easier to find information resources and use them. For example, filter them or actually retrieve a specific chunk of information. There are different types of metadata, mainly 4. First one is descriptive metadata that describes which type of content we have. For example, whether it refers to a specific product class. We have structural metadata. This can be information about navigation elements, parent-child relations, stuff like that. We have administrative metadata, who wrote that piece of content, when was it published, who reviewed the content, things like that. And then we have also qualitative metadata that explains where does this content come from? How reliable is the metadata assignment? A lot of metadata nowadays is generated automatically by ontological or semantic tools. So there's a difference in the quality of automatically generated metadata and metadata that was actually assigned by people or reviewed by people. So are these 4 types of metadata, and metadata can be organized in a taxonomy. A taxonomy is mostly a tree, is a classification scheme that organizes concepts into groups and types according to the properties of those concepts. You know taxonomies from medicine, for instance, from pharmaceutics, from, of course, biological classifications. So you always have the class, a parent class, subclass for the subclasses, and so on. So it's a hierarchy of concepts and terms of a specific domain. And iiRDS comes from the domain of technical documentation, meaning what the standard focuses on our technical writing domain. It's not about other related domains like the product world or like machine communication. This is out of scope. To give you an example of a taxonomy, I show you the scientific classification of a house cat. We do have an unwritten rule that there's no presentation without the cat. And so we use that as an example. And you see all the main classes. Cats are animals and they are mammals. So you have a parent class, subclasses. And in the end of the tree, you have the class for the species. The house cat belongs to this species. So this is like the group, the category where the cat belongs to. Then you have also individual objects belonging to this group, belonging to this category. And these are the objects belonging to a class. This is Felix. This is the cat that lives in my house, or rather I live in his house. And he is an object of the class Felis catus. I will talk about objects and classes a lot. That's why I wanted to introduce them generally. Taxonomies have limits. As I said, they are hierarchical structures. So if you think of a vehicle taxonomy, maybe you want to differ between motorized and non-motorized vehicles. Some of those vehicles which have motors have combustion engines or an electrical drive, and others don't have any motor. But when you go further down to the taxonomies, you see that you need to repeat specific concepts, like a passenger car can both run on fuel and has a combustion engine, or it can have a electrical drive and only needs electricity. Okay, let's just sort it in another way. Let's put the kind of car first. Same problem. We still need to repeat concepts, because one concept, one category can belong to several parent classes or may have relations to several other classes. And this is where semantic networks or ontologies come into play, and where they actually show their full potential. And iiRDS goes in the same direction because it provides the metadata as a semantic network or as an ontology. So let's take a look at the vehicle example again. We can build up a little tree of vehicle concepts, classes. Bicycles, trucks, motorcycles, all are vehicles. So we have is-a relations between the parent class and the subclass. And we have a nice little taxonomy tree for the fuel types. And then you establish relations between the classes. You say a passenger car may run on diesel, but it may also run on petrol. And the same applies to a truck. In this case, it also only runs on diesel, but of course, it could also run on electricity. I know that Volvo has the first electric trucks, and Mercedes as well. And then you may add another category, for example, that about the components like an engine that is built into vehicles. So a passenger car has an engine and a motorcycle, but not the bicycle. And as you see, this way of organizing knowledge is much more efficient because you only need the concepts once. And it's not only important that you have a parent-child relation between classes, but that you have relations between the objects. And these relations, they form a semantic network. So if you build up such a semantic network, and this is exactly what iiRDS does, you get an ontology. There are different definitions of ontology. You will find some in philosophy, for instance, but we use the definition from computer science and information technology. And it states that an ontology is a formal specification of the concepts that exist in a specific domain, not much different from the taxonomy. So it defines the objects and classifies them, it describes their properties, but it also defines and types their relations, the relations between the objects. And objects may be physical things or abstract things. So there are ontologies, as I showed you, for biological objects, animals or plants, but there are also ontology that describe maintenance work, or that describe processes, or time, constructs of time, like what is an interval, or what is a duration, or what is a period, and things like that. So the classes and object within an ontology may be physical or abstract. And by drawing those relations I showed you for the vehicles, we can form semantic statements like that Felix is a cat and Felix lives in my house. And if you refer to the technical communication, statements like this topic describes the product variant ABC, or this topic is of type task. And we call that form subject, predicate, object. The predicate is always the relation, and the subject and object are the objects belonging to specific classes of the ontology. And we call those triples. And the triples, they form a semantic network of information. And if we apply this concept to technical communication, we get a network of intelligent information. And this is what it's all about nowadays. We do no longer want to deliver publications, books, static information products. We want to deliver smart information that is enriched with metadata, and thus can be organized in a semantic network. So if we look at the definition of intelligent information, and I should probably say one thing regarding the terminology, you will hear the terms intelligent information, intelligent content, and smart information, which is basically the same. Especially smart content and intelligent information is the same. Smart content is more used in the US, intelligent information is more used in Europe and within tekom. So you might hear me say smart content as well. So what is intelligent information? And this is the last definition you need to endure. From a technical point of view, documentation content that we deliver as intelligent information is format neutral. So it is in a machine readable format. And this applies both to the content, which can be HTML, XML, whatever, and the metadata, meaning that the metadata which is used to enrich the content is also machine readable and structured. This ensures that the content may be rendered on different end devices, in a portal, in an app, in augmented reality glasses, or in a document. So these are the technical properties. From the reader's point of view, the people who want to use our content, they consider the intelligent information as being modular and suitable for different application scenarios, audiences, and contexts. That means that if you write one piece of content, say a task on how to clean a machine, this piece of content can be used in different information products, operation manual, in the repair manual, can be used for both operators and service technicians. And more and more we come to the situation or find ourselves in the situation as we do not know where our content ends up. So we write a specific topic and it may be used in different contexts. So we need to be aware of that, that this is the normal usage scenario nowadays. It's also due to reuse, but if you have intelligent information and deliver it to different processing applications like portals or apps or PDF production, you never know where your topic will be published in the end. And from a usage point of view, intelligent information is well suited for integrating content from different sources. So intelligent information may come from a component content management system, maybe from source code documentation, maybe from product information management systems like SendShare, from SAP. But because it's modular and processable and machine readable, it can also be integrated. And then this integrated content can be delivered to the target audience. And because it's modular, it can also be assembled into dynamic information products. Oh, and you find intelligent content not only in technical documentation, but also in marketing, for instance, and as I said, in product information. So it's no longer about manuals only. Okay, so we didn't want this to be a lecture only, so I would like to hear why you are here. What is your use case for intelligent information? So I prepared forms and I hope that works. Can you, I have to copy the link and put it into the chat, right? So just open this again. Please, you should see this form here. I don't know whether it's in German or English. Oh, it's also should be available in Dansk and Danish. And please answer the questions in one. And this is some very common use cases for intelligent information for smart content that I collected. Please select the ones that apply to you. And if you have additional or your use cases are not listed at all, please enter any text you want below. So I will stop talking for 2 minutes and then we can take a look at the results.
Ulrike, you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your answers, 22. And we have 2 front runners here, which is content delivery portals. And the second one, oh yeah, modular products and services. And you need more modular content to actually build your information products or your content delivery. And we have 3 other answers. More interactive documentation for service technicians. We will come to iiRDS in a second. I want to learn about the possibilities to find what an atom of content a molecule are. Okay, I will not talk about the authoring so much because iiRDS is a delivery standard, but I can show you some examples in a content delivery portal. So thank you very much. Very usual scenarios for which you need intelligent content. So let me get to iiRDS itself. Just some words about benefits of intelligent information. The best thing for me is that you already have the information in your company. You have a lot of manuals, technical documentation, service information, and by enhancing that information and turning it into intelligent information, you can actually create benefits because you can deliver it in a better way. If people don't spend time searching your documentation or through your documentation, they need less time or they have more time for actually doing service work or operation work. And it may be an advantage on the market for your company. Intelligent information enables several applications like portals, but also interactive service applications, and also guided troubleshooting and diagnosis. Okay, any questions about this more generic part of the presentation? Susanna, was there anything in the chat?
No questions in the chat yet.
Great.